All right, so let's take a look at this problem on number 14. It's giving me a function g, and it's asked me to evaluate this function g at different values of x. Remember the input, the number that's inside the parentheses is an x coordinate. And when you substitute in, and we simply say usually when you plug it in, but by the principle of substitution, when we replace x with 0 and do this arithmetic, the corresponding output will be a y coordinate, will be the output of the function. So this function g, before I just start plugging things in, I like to stop and think, what does this function do to the input, no matter what that input is? So this x is just a dummy variable. Sometimes I like to replace it with the word input so that the student understands that could be a variable, or it could be an expression, it could be just a number, it could be something easy or something complicated. But this g always creates a subtraction problem. Well, you have to have two numbers to subtract. So the first number, it takes the input no matter what it is, whether it's a number, an expression, and it squares it, and then it multiplies it by 3. The second number, it gets it by taking the square root of that number, and it subtracts these two values. So when the input is 0, what do we have? Well, we're going to have 0 squared, and then we're going to multiply it by 3, and then we're going to subtract the square root of 0. Well, that's pretty easy to figure out that arithmetic. 0 squared is 0, and 3 times 0 is 0. So that first number is 0. And when I take the square root of 0, it's 0. The second number is 0, and 0 minus 0. So g evaluated at 0 is 0. If you were to graph this function, it passes through the origin. All right, so let's figure out what b. What if you plug in x equals 1, what's the corresponding y value? What is x equal 1 related to? When the input is 1, our first number is 1 squared, which is just 1, but you multiply it by 3, so you have 3. All right. And our second number, we take the square root of 1, which is just 1. And now we subtract these two answers, and 3 minus 1 is 2. I've run out of room down here. All right, so let's do this last one. What if we do the arithmetic when we substitute in for the input this value of 9? Well, this subtraction problem, and remember, g is very good about creating this subtraction problem. It takes whatever we give it and it squares it. I'm going to square 9 and then subtract the square root of 9. Well, 9 squared is 81, and 3 times 81, I think, is 243. The square root of 9 is 3. 243 minus 3 is 240. So yeah, I think I remember that answer. All right, so it's just simply substitution. Be careful with arithmetic, especially signs. Don't be afraid to plug it in a calculator. When you're plugging things in a calculator, it's nice to use parentheses, especially if you have negative numbers, or especially if you're subtracting an expression. It's very crucial that you key it in correctly. Hope that helps. Talk to you later.